Tyson Bagent is signed, sealed, and delivered to the Chicago Bears through 2027. Let's do an emergency pod. The CHGO Bears podcast starts right now. Welcome in to an emergency edition of the CHGO Bears podcast. I don't think I'm going to be able to stop smiling this whole 20 minutes or however long we go here, Adam Jahns, as Adam Hogue is on his way to Hallis Hall to ask the first question to Ben Johnson on how he was so brilliant and how he connected with Tyson, and now Tyson getting an extension. But there it is. 2-year extension through 2027. He was going to be a restricted free agent. The Bears could have tendered him last year, but they extend him out for another season. Team-friendly deal, I would say. Tyson's going to earn $4.25 per year in 26 and 25 and 26. 26 and 27, excuse me, and then he gets a signing bonus to give himself a raise for this year as well. Adam Jahns with me here. Johnsy, what do you think? Is it this a good day for the Bears, good day for Bagent, right?
well done on the story, Carman. And to use your phrasing, yes, he earned this. Tyson Bagent has had an outstanding training camp. He wasn't signed by Ben Johnson. He's been here for a couple years, but he has quickly won over Ben Johnson. He's quickly won over Declan Doyle. He's quickly won over JT Barrett. Now, I'm saying all this, everybody watching, Caleb Williams is your starter. But Tyson Bagent has earned this. He's played exceptionally well throughout training camp. He's had great days. You almost wonder what he looked like playing with DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. But I think the Bears, specifically Ben Johnson, I think they still see something in Tyson Bagent. I think we all saw him play like a starter against the Buffalo Bills. So to start this off, Carm, yes, Tyson Bagent earned this contract extension.
I mean, it's truly, when I was thinking about, what has actually happened here, to me, it's one of the best Bears quarterback stories going. I know that list is a very small one. We're still talking about Sid Luckman in this town. And I'm not, and again, to the point, the hope here is that he doesn't end up playing a ton of games here, that Caleb is a star. But look, you identified a guy who set all sorts of records at Division II. He went undrafted. You brought him in. You saw instantly that P.J. Walker was struggling. He was playing well. All right, we're a rebuilding team. We're not trying to win. Let's take a swing here with the guy that we identified, and let's elevate him all the way up to the backup spot. Then Justin gets hurt, and he starts and does well for himself, goes 2-2. I know the stats don't jump off the page, 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but you really watch those games. He did an outstanding job. Is barely in the NFL, undrafted, and held his own. And then, Justin ends up out the door, and now he's backing up Caleb. And now Ben comes in here, offensive guru, and they signed Case Keenum, and he was told that you're not going anywhere. You're going to compete with him, but we want a veteran in the room. Tyson took that on, competed, and what I thought would happen, and what has happened, is that Tyson is such a do-right guy that he is going to connect with whoever is the head coach, and that's what's happened here with Ben. This deal doesn't get done if Ben Johnson is not on board with, I'm super comfortable with this guy running my offense, and it also doesn't get done on the other side if Tyson's not like, hey, I'm very happy to sit here and learn under this guy, for the next couple of years, and I'll be a free agent again in 27. I'm not a running back. I'm not a wide receiver. Quarterbacks stay till they're 40. I do CrossFit every single day. I'll bet on myself at that point in my career after having this sort of tutorial from Ben for a couple of years. I think it's a great spot for him and the Bears.
Can I read something from Ben Johnson earlier this month? This is, I think, August 4th or something, from Ben Johnson speaking to the media. This is him and Tyson Bagent. Man, he's been phenomenal. I mean, he's smart as a whip. Appreciate the seriousness and intent that he brings every time he walks into a room. Meeting room, walkthrough, it doesn't matter. He's locked in. He's focused. I think his teammates feel that from him. Love the fact that he'll throw the ball and he keeps working through his progressions just so it goes home with exactly where everyone's going to be in case he had to move on. I think he's taken this seriously. He's preparing the right way. And I couldn't be more thrilled that he's here with us. That's him a couple weeks ago. He's about to talk to the media in 33 minutes at Hall. It depends when you're listening to this, but this is before Ben Johnson's press conference at Hall. I mean, that quote right there, when I heard it, you're like, whoa, that is a different level of praise for a backup quarterback. I can't recall anything like that. You get stuff about mentorship, the experience, or John Fox would say, a bunch of skins on the wall. There was none of that. This was about a young, up-and-coming quarterback that won over his new head coach, probably one of the best offensive minds in football, in Ben Johnson.
Right. I mean, it's super impressive for Tyson, and I thought it was an interesting comment along. It was I think a week or two after that, where Case Keenum gets up there and he's like, "Look, this offense is not necessarily QB friendly," is how he put it. Like, there is a lot on your plate. You are asked. The play calls are complex. And Ben keeps on talking about, well, if you go back to my playbook from 2021, it was here, but like it's evolved a ton from there. So when you're trying to be the offensive guru in the game, it's not just going to be the most basic play sheet. So it's going to be challenging for the QB, which is an outstanding opportunity for Tyson, for Caleb, for anyone in this system to learn at that level. But back to Tyson, it's impressive that he's been able to do it. Which, listen, and you ask him, it's like, look, I played a ton of football in high school. I started early. I played a ton of football in college. And, to that team to the north that nobody wants to mention, all those guys sat and learned. And I'm not saying he's going to be Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, or even start here, but that's how they went about their business. They learned, for a couple of years, and then they were able to step in. I still think, despite the Jaden Daniels successes and CJ Stroud's or whoever else you want to name, to be able to sit in the NFL and learn for a little bit, it's got to help you because it ain't easy out there, man. Figure out this complex system, 3-4 seconds, get rid of the ball, put it in the right way. That cannot be easy for literally anyone to do. You have to be some unique bird to be able to do it.
I thought from the first training camp practice, just watching the second offense, and I know there was a moment there where you saw Case Keenum and Tyson Bagent going back and forth, rotating with the second string. I thought both of them looked confident. I thought both of them looked comfortable. And one's an 11, 12-year veteran, and one's in his third year. I mean, there's a difference there. Just to compare and contrast the time difference of those two, I think that's a compliment for Bagent, just how functional he looked in Ben Johnson's offense immediately on day one of training camp. Can I read one more thing? Then I got a question for you, Carm.
Sure.
So this is from Ryan Poles during the broadcast from the Bears and Bills game. Like, we're watching, Caleb's out, Tyson Bagent is in, he's playing well. This is Poles on the Fox broadcast. Tyson's a stud. There isn't a harder worker on this football team than Tyson Bagent. Can I just read that again? This is from the GM of your football team. There isn't a harder worker on this football team than Tyson Bagent. You could just see with his background coming from Shepherd, always kind of had an underdog vibe to him. And the dude's just gritty, and he's tough, and he continues to work and get better every single year. That's on the broadcast. What do you think this means for Caleb Williams? Like, what do you think? Like, what's the best way to put some context on this? This is a backup quarterback we're talking about. He's their number 2. Did not sign some lucrative record-setting contract, but he's extremely valued at Hall. What do you think? What's the best way to view this through the lens of Caleb Williams?
Well, the way I would view it if I was Caleb and also as the Bears, look, you are the number 1 overall draft pick. That Ben Johnson came here for you. So I wouldn't be slightly concerned on where you stand in the organization. That being said, there is a young guy behind you who is going to continue to do things the right way every single day. And I don't know about you, Johnsy, but when you have somebody behind you that's doing everything right, it elevates you.
Yeah.
You have to compete. You got to come correct. if anybody in their regular job, if no one is behind you doing anything, you can get away with doing 50% because who the hell's coming in? I'm fine. But if you have some insane person, Greg Braggs, behind you or in front of me, whatever, who's always on point, it elevates you. That's how I would look at it from a Caleb standpoint. His on pointness should only be a benefit to Caleb. But it's true too. Like, look, he's not here to back up his entire NFL career. That guy truly believes that at some point in time, he can and will be a starter in the NFL. He doesn't put this much effort in just to sit here for, 10 years and be a backup. He believes he can be a starter someday. He wants to be a starter someday. He's going to continue to work to do it. I mean, that's basically what he said when we went out to West Virginia and talked to him. Like, I'm like, how do you handle like knowing that, this is probably your last year in Chicago is my question. Cause like, there's no real path. He's like, look, I'm not, I can't focus on what's going on in the NFL. I'm just on myself, just working to be as good as I possibly can be, talking about being Hall of Fame, Pro Bowl, all this. I mean, he sets massive goals for himself, which, it's easy to say those things, but to actually put in the work and do it, that's a whole nother thing. I think we can all, sort of relate to the action between saying and doing.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point here. Is that and I put this in our analysis. If you get it on ALLCHGO.com right now from Hogue, myself, and Carm, he chose to be here. He wants to be here.
Right.
He wants to be a starter, but he didn't force his way out of here. Right? Like after the season, yeah, he's an RFA, but there's ways. Like you can state your case. You don't have to sign the tender. You could go force the Bears' hand and go elsewhere. Go find another opportunity. Just look around the league. Joe Flacco's still starting. Like there are teams who would take a chance on a young up and coming quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is still in this league. That's my point. Is he wanted to be here as much as Ben Johnson values coaching him. I think he values. Carm, you know this probably better than I do. Like, I bet you he values being coached by Ben Johnson right now at this point in his career.
100%. I mean, I'm not saying he wouldn't have stayed here if it was the Matt Eberflus, Shane Waldron thing, because that guy's never said anything bad about any of the coaching staffs. He hasn't. But I think he really loves Ben. And you listen to how he talks about the details. And this is a detailed dude. I mean, Ben, the quote you read, he shouted him out because like he does his throw. And then the next thing is he goes this, and then this, and then this. Like, I could have gone there. I could have gone. Like, this is a detailed guy. So there's a connection between those two. And I was told a long time ago, like, don't sleep on the fact that how much Tyson is going to connect with coaches. And it's happened here. There's no way, that this. I'm repeating myself now, but there's no way that this happens unless Ben is on board. And the other side of it too is like to what you're talking about, John. I mean, if you're the Indianapolis Colts, would you want Daniel Jones starting, who is going to be their starter? Would you rather have Bagent? I mean, to me, I'd way rather see what I got in 17 than to try to ratchet up whatever there is in Daniel Jones. But and that obviously was a first round draft pick, the whole thing. So you can point all around the league as to where like situations where he could go and at least compete. And the Bears took that away from and Tyson was willing to take that away from him until 2027 and see what happens here.
Joe Flacco is 40 years old. The Cleveland Browns are keeping 4 quarterbacks on their roster, or they're expected to, their first 53-man roster. You're telling me that Tyson Bagent wouldn't have had options out there? Like,
right.
This is an important part of the story, I think. Like, he wants to be here. He wants to be coached by Ben Johnson and see where he can go being coached by Ben Johnson, learning this. Maybe following Declan Doyle. Maybe that's an option down the road. I don't want to go down there yet. We still haven't played one game this season, but
that's a good point, though. Declan has talked really well about him and vice versa. So, I mean, look, what do they say in the business? Be where your feet are and all that type of stuff. I do wonder on that part of it. Like, we saw him scrambling on Sunday night. I mean, this is not. You got to remember with Tyson. This is an athlete. This is a dude. He has a 36 in vertical. He's got. I mean, he's got some insane balance things that he does, which you saw him almost get taken to the ground the other night, and somehow he's able to spin out of it because he's just a strong dude. So could there be some level of package where Ben gets creative because he is Ben Johnson? He just is that. I'm not saying that's likely, but I wouldn't completely rule that out either.
I'm looking for this quote from Doyle because he had it was just spoke to the seriousness. And you know what, like, don't you get like a serious vibe from Ben Johnson, and we have from like day one? You could tell how, you could see how, to your point, how the personalities mesh, the seriousness of it. Because Ben Johnson, like, he's so serious about this, and not all coaches are the same. Like, every little thing matters to Ben Johnson. Like, he's serious about every little detail in his practices, and we've seen that since day one of training camp. So if you're praising the seriousness of your backup quarterback, I think you could see how those two would completely mesh together.
Well, and shout out, by the way, a $10 super chat from my guy Andrew Hiller, who is the preeminent CrossFit superstar in the world. And he did, as he's saying, fittest quarterback in the NFL. Hiller's got a video out there on his YouTube channel that everybody should check out. That's got 311,000 views of Tyson being the fittest QB in the NFL. And again, I don't know how these guys do it, this whole CrossFit thing. I'm sitting there watching him do burpee after this 10-minute thing this summer. And he's on the rowing machine, and there's insane fit people around him. I forget who the female was that won who's 5'6" and could climb mountains and lift them at the same time. So there's a work ethic here and just a love of it. And I mean, Steven, you got that picture of me following up the hill where I'm taking a picture and he's carrying one of his friends on this I mean, does that look like fun? Because I don't think it does. And I'm like, okay, and there, of course, I'm in the background there, but like he would run.
It looks like a Photoshop picture, to be honest with you.
It does. He's running 500, I think it's 500 feet or 500 meters, whatever it is, and then he flips and carries them. It's like, y'all are just different cats. This is not what everyone's doing every day. So plus that, and then you add in the intelligence factor. It all adds up to the Bears making, I think, a very wise decision on a very affordable contract. Backup quarterbacks are expensive. They're getting them at $4.25 a year for the next 2 years after this one, and they give them a little bit of a raise this year. That's a great job by Ryan Poles, and it really is.
And the Bears know that. You go back to Chase Daniel. You could include Mark Sanchez. You can include, I mean, the year where they had Mike Glennon, Mitch Trubisky, and missing somebody. It was Mark Sanchez that year. And then you had the year where you had Andy Dalton and Nick Foles involved. The Bears have spent a lot of money on this position and have not gotten really a lot of it. I don't know if it was really worth it on the field. That's what I'm saying.
The Glennon one was the best. $45 million, I think 18.5 guaranteed. He played 4 games, went 1-3. Go ahead, Mitch. See you later. That wasn't great. But yeah. That's why the way I just wanted to start. This is a win for the Bears. Eventually look around the league. What happens? Oh, dudes that play a ton of football in college who maybe don't have all the measurables that you're looking for. Tyson gets banged on his arm strength, which I think, he doesn't, it's not a cannon arm, but you can also point to a lot of guys in the league who've won a lot of football games without a cannon. But who's being undervalued? Who can you find who's played a ton of football and has had a lot of success? And they went out and Poles went out and did that. I mean, we've been screaming forever. Draft, I don't care who it is. Take a quarterback every year. You got to the more the merrier. You need to try to draft, develop, and then end up keeping one. And that's what they did here.
I couldn't find the Declan Doyle quote, but I did find the Case Keenum quote. This is from early in camp when Case Keenum, who was competing with Tyson Bagent for second team reps, he was asked for his impressions, and they were battling it. This was the QB battle taking place. So this is Case Keenum on Tyson Bagent. Tyson's having a really, really good camp. I think he's made a step forward from the spring. He's picking up this offense excellent. He is sharp. He is really, really smart. We try to stump the Schwab with him in there in the QB room. Him and Austin and Caleb, we try to stump each other, and man, we can't ever get him. He knows the playbook like the back of his hand. I've been very impressed with him. He's athletic. We haven't been really able to see him probably do what he's really, really good at in escaping rush, making plays outside the pocket. During practice, it's been a lot of within the pocket, within the timing of the play, making some really accurate plays down the field. I think he's going to play a long time in this league. That's from Case Keenum.
And I love the back end of that too. What he's really good at. The dude's good on the move, which is another thing to like about this, by the way, because you wouldn't think it, but Tyson and Caleb are actually more similar. Like, you don't have to run a whole different system. If Caleb, had to miss a couple of games, it's plug and play. He can run around. He can absolutely step in and use his athletic ability to do some of the stuff that Caleb can do. Not the arm strength, obviously, but as far as the movability factor, the dude can get around. He's no statue. So, Johnsy, anything else before we get out here? Obviously, we're back today after practice, and I know Ben's talking in 30 minutes here, 29.
Yeah, and I imagine Tyson Bagent's going to speak later as well. So, it's the Bears. Like, he's not your starter, but the Bears have found, signed, and developed a good young quarterback under different regimes, different offensive coordinators. Or we should say it like this. He's developed, despite all those changes, and he's won over Ben Johnson. This is why we're having this emergency podcast. This is why I think this news is a little bit more. It's a Bears quarterback. It's always news. It's going to be talked about throughout this town, throughout today, tomorrow, into the preseason game when he plays. So, like I said earlier in the show, I think Tyson Bagent has earned this. He's earned this publicity, this podcast, and so much more.
And shout out to Gregory P. Allen Braggs, who when he just gave us a $5 super check. Congrats, Carman, on the scoop. Thanks, Gregory. Congrats, Carman, calling Bagent day one over PJ Walker. I think it might have been even day two, but I'll take a day one from you. And congrats for Carm dunking on the haters. Love you. No dunk. I won't even mention the fact that I had to tell people that he's better than Case Keenum on this podcast about 17 times, and everybody else that's come at me on Twitter. I wasn't even going to bring that up. But Gregory, you made the point a while back. Hey, this is good for the Bears, dude. Like, it's good to have two good quarterbacks. We don't need to be against each other. And I hope that's the real BJ Armstrong texting in my guy 10, who is a part of my greatest moment ever on the athletic field. Shout out the multiplex. Shout out BJ kicking it out to me and me shooting the jump shot and him calling 8-4. Knowing Adam Jahns that Carm jumper was going in back in the day.
The confidence.
Yeah, I'll never forget that moment in my life. But we have another supers here, Steven, before we go? I think we do. David writes, $1.99. What does this mean for Keenum? Move into coach. Dude, he's going to be on the roster as a third quarterback, right? And he is a pseudo coach in that room. But Case has been. They love Case. Been not a bad word said about him. If you are new to us, by the way, this breaking pod, CHGO Bears during the season, Monday through Friday, shows are at noon, pre and post game, breaking news like now. We're always here for you. Training camp, our shows move around. Today we're at, I think we're at 5 o'clock today. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And as you see, the subscriber button, 87,632 and counting. So hit that subscribe button if you're brand new. Get on board. There is no better place for Bears content. And the rest of the content, by the way, at CHGO, Cubs and Sox and Bulls and Hawks, everything Chicago right here. Hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Turn the bell. Hit that bell, too, so you know when things are on. Pidge, we got you. Appreciate you being here. Johnsy, any final thoughts on the way out?
No. Nice job on the story, Carm. Hogan Johns will be out later as well. We have Adam Amin as a special guest. So please check that out as we all get ready to watch one more preseason game, this time in Kansas City.
Starters getting ready to roll. Thank you, Cams, for getting that one. But we got the Bagent news, damn it. All right, we'll see you guys later. Hogan Johns coming up, and then CHGO Bears later this afternoon. Have a great one.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.